Hello, bonjour. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Priscilla and this is Mom's Study Abroad Diary. Today's video is dedicated to the international students who are getting ready to come to Canada or are already here. There's a previous video I did about what you need to pack and what you don't need to bring here. So now I just want to do a follow-up on finding housing, daycare if you have to, and what you need to do for the first few weeks when you're here. So let's get into it. My experience with housing was quite unique and very bumpy, and it went to a point where I was actually homeless, and I'm not joking. Like, we were homeless and in a shelter for some time. Let me tell you how we got into a shelter. So when you get your admission, the school tells you start looking for housing ASAP. So they have two options. They will give you options of staying in campus and out of campus. So for me, staying on campus was not an option because I knew I had a baby. So now I have to look for accommodation outside my campus, and they had a link which I didn't go through immediately. I went on Facebook Marketplace first to find out, okay, how much are housings in Prince Edward Island, and where I was humbled. I was like, okay, is this for a room or is it the entire house? Like, so for just renting a room, it's 600 and above. So I was like, okay, this is really getting serious. So I'm like, first of all, I immediately knew that I cannot afford a house. I need a house where we stay alone, but I cannot afford that because we were in the 2,500s. Like, that's the range, or 1,200 and something. So I'm like, that is not happening. 1,800, it's not happening. There's no way I can afford that. So I was like, I need to find someone who's able to accommodate me and my son. If you're a single person, it's easy for you to find it. I'm not saying it's easy, but you can find something. If you are a couple, like just you and your husband or your wife, it's easy for you to find something, because for the kids it's different because they consider that child will cry. And if you're sharing a house with other people, like, you don't need to be told. No one wants kids to be crying in the house. So that was like the road block for me when I was looking for the house. The moment I mention kids, the landlords are like, we don't do kids. Do you have a pet? I'm like, okay. Yeah, but I was already committed that I am going, and I'm going with my son. See, we have a visa, so we are going. And when we get there, that's when we shall know what's up. We shall figure it out. So I kept on searching. I couldn't find. I sent my friend who's in Canada, like, my link to my place. No, link to the school. Can you help me search on Kijiji? Can you help me search on all the different applications? And I couldn't. One thing I want to mention here before I forget, like, whenever you're looking for a house, there are things to look out for. Like, they will of course tell you about the lease. There's a lease you have to do, like, for how long are you signing a lease for staying in that house. So if a lease is long and you haven't even seen a house, so there's no need for you to start being committed and all that, because at some point you don't get back your money if you've signed a lease and you want to go, like, if you want to go out of that house. So that is so difficult. And on Facebook Marketplace, because you don't know these places, like, for me it was the first time I'm hearing about Prince Edward Island and the cities, the places here. So if I'm searching on Facebook Marketplace a place near Holland College, they will give me anywhere. And the reality is, at the end of the day, it became so far what I had found on Facebook Marketplace. So I found a house a full house, and the lady was like, you know what, I don't mind having you there. It was 100, it was like 18 or 16, I think. I don't mind having you there. It's a 2-bedroom house. You have your own kitchen, you have your own sitting room, and the other person has their own. So it's like you're not even living under one roof. I was like, okay, that works perfectly. It was 800 per month. So she told me the only thing is I have to find a roommate for you. So I said, okay, let me know whenever you find a roommate. And I thought, this is, from what I saw on Facebook Marketplace, it was close to my campus in Alberton. So I was like, perfect, I'm finding a house and whatnot. I waited for this lady to find a roommate. She found me a roommate, a guy. And I was like, are we going there? Is this happening? Like, now I'm gonna live with a guy that I don't know under one roof and all that. But she was like, okay, I found a guy, call the guy, and if you guys agree, then I'll give you guys a house. Like, for me, whenever I was finding a house, I was being told, oh, I was telling them, okay, I would be coming in 3 months. And they were like, no, there is no way we are keeping this house for you, not unless you're paying. And as I've told you, don't pay anyone if you've not seen a house, okay? So I wasn't, that was something else. Like, searching if you're far away from coming does not make sense. So the lady was like, I'll keep the house for you, no problem. It's like she wasn't finding anyone also. So I was to come after this guy. So this guy was to come in September and I was to come in December. So the guy gets there, we kept in touch and all that. When he gets there, he calls me. He's like, Priscilla, about the mission, first of all, as I'm talking to you, I'm boarding another bus. Like, I'm going back to Toronto. It was that bad. This guy was coming from Toronto and he tells me, I am going back to Toronto because this is an impossible mission. Do not, I repeat, do not come here with a child. Like, the house that we got, it is so far from our campus. There is no buses in this city. There is no job. There is nothing. Do not come here. So the guy was actually looking for a better place. Like, in PI, there's easier opportunities for you to get PR when you're done with school. So that's what he was after. But he really needed to work while he's studying. But when he got to Alberton, he was like, this is not happening. And he was just advising me not to even step in Alberton. He was like, you know what, if you don't need to work, if you have a car, then by all means come to Alberton. But first of all, that house is not, it's a good deal. We got a good deal, but it's way too far from the school. I immediately started panicking, looking for other admissions. I'm like, I'm not going to Prince Edward Island, and I'd rather look for places where I know people. So I started asking about housing in Toronto, in where and everything, and it was just so crazy. But God kept telling me, like, be still. Like, I love this verse. Be still and know that I am God. I was just like, this seems impossible, but God, I'm gonna trust you because you gave me this visa with my son. And now the fact that I have a son, it's becoming a roadblock. It's becoming difficult. So I'm gonna trust you. I'm gonna go there whether we have a house or not, and from there you're gonna direct. Because for me, I mean, I just knew that everything has happened. It's a miracle. It's God opening a door for me. So there's no way he can do things halfway. So I was like, let's go. So I started looking for other options. Like, what are my other options of finding housing? Facebook Marketplace, not an option. And I'm saying this for my case. If you have children, you will know that finding a house is not easy. But if you are a single person, as I said, you can easily find a shared room on Facebook Marketplace, which is the most advised as a student. I know sometimes you want to live alone, you want to have your own house and all that, but it's a process. You will eventually get there, but I feel like you really have to start sharing the house, because at the end of the day, even that budget is really high. Even if you're paying 500 and you don't have work. You don't have work, you need to eat, you need other things. So 500 for someone who's new, it's actually the best that you can find. So sharing a house is something that you want to consider. So I go back to the school links and I'm like, let me check at the options of off campus. So the options of off campus, they had like some nearby restaurants, some what and what. So to that link, I go there, I start writing to everyone in Alberton. I find nothing in Alberton. I find no house. Alberton is a small city, so everything is just like 1, 2, 3 houses, and that's all. So I don't find anything in Alberton. I said, okay, let me just look in Charlottetown, because at the end of the day, I'm going to start in January, so maybe I can stay in Charlottetown and Alberton. And I don't know these places. I don't know the distance between them, but I'm like, I'm going to have to make that work for now. So I start writing to the people in Charlottetown for a house. And when I'm writing my email, so out of experience, I've noticed that people don't want me with a child. So when I'm writing an email, that's the first thing I say. My name is Priscilla. I'm coming as an international student with my 3-year-old. Are you able to? I'm interested in becoming a renter in your apartment. So are you able to give me housing? And people are like, no. And this one lady says no. But then again, she was like, you know what? I think I can accommodate you for just this December, and then in January you look for something else, because in January I have a 2-bedroom house and I want to put international students in there. So if you're there with your child, there's no way I'm gonna rent it out to other people. But for now, there's no one, so you can come and stay there. And she actually responded when I was at the airport, and I was like, thank God, I'm just going. So I get to this woman's house and she drafts a contract. We didn't talk about the rent or anything because it was a short time. So I came in December 15th and she was giving me until the end of the month. So it was really a short time. And she drafts a contract. She's like, you're paying me 600 for those 10 days that you're gonna stay here. You're paying me security deposit for 400 and you'll get that back. Okay. So I was like, okay, sounds good. And now, upon arriving there, I start looking for daycare. So another thing you need to do is look for daycare. If you're coming with a child below 5 years, you need to look for daycare even before you come. Like, just go on the registry, register your child, and look for a daycare. So I didn't know that. I thought, I'm coming, I'll take him to the nearest daycare and that will be sorted, no problem. But it wasn't. So you want to do that if you have children under 5 years. If your children are older, then you don't need that. You'll just come and take them to the nearest school, which is easy. So I started looking for daycare also, and daycare wasn't being, like, I couldn't find the registry is like, you have to stay there for like a year. They're telling me, are you crazy? Like, you're not finding daycare in a few days. So I'm like, okay, so now what do I do? Look for daycare wherever it is here on PI. Wherever you find daycare, that's where you're gonna live. So now I go back, I call the school. I'm like, no, you guys, you need to help me, because I'm here, I'm not finding housing, I'm not finding daycare. Like, what are you guys going to do about it? And the lady was so shocked that I'm actually here with my son. She was like, are you kidding me? Did you move all the way with your child? And I'm like, yes, and you have to help me. There's no one of, like, we are not going back. We are here. Look for a way. So she's like, okay, I'm going off. I like figure it out. I'm like, it's not happening. Just help me. What are you guys gonna help me with? So she sends me links. She sends me a daycare link. She's like, you know what, this daycare, she actually told me her friend son goes to that daycare and they usually have openings. So I'm like, okay. I call them and wow, they have openings, but it's in Summerside and I'm in Charlottetown. So in the meantime, my landlady where I'm living, she notices that, well, this girl is she's in trouble. Should I have housing? Should I have daycare? She needs to go to school in a few days, so I need to take advantage of this. She'll be going to Alberton. I'm in Charlottetown. Like, she was just doing the math. She's like, wait, this one is in trouble, so let me mind her. So she comes to me, she's like, you know what, out of my good heart, I don't want to kick you out with your son. I know it is hard for you, but I know if I give you a place to stay, it will help you. I'm like, wow, thank you. The only thing, I would have you pay me 1,500 for the room that you're staying in, and on top of that you pay for electricity, however much you guys will use. She was like, I think you guys are using a lot of electricity because you're heating the room or something like that, and it's during winter, so what do you expect me to do? So when she mentioned 1,500 for a room, I was like, okay, thank you so much. But I went to my room first and I was like, well, I need to get out of this place, because this lady has a mortgage. Definitely she's trying to have me pay her mortgage. This is what she's doing, and the fact that she's telling me that it's out of her good heart, I was like, no, you're bad news. So I start looking for a way to move out, to get out of there, to go to Summerside. First of all, look at that daycare, and then I'll figure it out. So I start writing, okay, I found, in my mind I'm like, okay, I found daycare in Summerside, that means it's better for me to live in Summerside, because I don't have a car, I don't have anything. I have to drop my son off and then go to school, go take the bus to school. So I go to that school link. Now I start writing to landlords who are in Summerside, and this is how I found myself into shelter, because no one again was responding. No one wanted me with a kid. They were like, oh, bees, I don't do kids, I don't do that. And I'm like, okay, it's okay. And one of the ladies that I wrote to, she was one of the landladies. She didn't have her house. Her house was not available. But she was like, you know what? She felt for me. She was like, oh my goodness, this girl has a 3-year-old. She was like, I'm gonna help you look for housing. She works at a shelter. So she's like, I'm gonna help you look for housing. And when she called me to help me, like, to find out what's up, I couldn't even talk, because this landlady was becoming very fishy. Like, she didn't even want me to leave the house. Like, she really became a bit of like, so, like, she wanted to scare me. She was really scaring me, that I feel like she's my only hope, you know. But me, I was like, you're not getting what you want, because first of all, you are very mistaken. I don't have 1,500 to pay you. So if you think that I'm the one, it will not happen. So she calls me and I couldn't talk. I was like, hello, nini. My voice was so low because I was seated with that lady, and I didn't want her to know that I'm actually looking for a place to go, you know. So she was like, oh, something is wrong with this girl. So she hangs up, and since she's working in a shelter, she talks to her boss about it, and they call me back. They're like, you know what, we have a place, if you want to come, just come with your son and all that. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go to a shelter, guys. Like, I didn't tell them that, but in my mind I'm like, am I going to a shelter? No, I'm not. So I was like, okay, sure, I'll call you guys back. I didn't call them. The next day they call me again, and first of all, I don't like talking about the shelter thing, because I feel like it's an unrealistic thing. It does not happen often. It's not that international students are allowed to be in a shelter, or they're even accepted. Like, don't even put it in your mind. I don't want to advertise this at all. Being in a shelter is not an option. For international students, it's not an option. You should not even be in a shelter to begin with. So, and the way to get even there, it's a process. But as I said, God had a plan for me, and that's how I ended up in a shelter, and that shelter was a saving grace for me. And I just had to go through there, okay? So, no more shelter experience. I'm not gonna talk about that. But just know I ended up in a shelter, and from the shelter, that's where I was able to find a house, because when you're in that, it's a transitional shelter, you don't go and live there forever. So they were just helping me find a house. That was their goal, and they did just that. They found a house for me, and that's how I moved out from a shelter to my renting apartment where I was living alone, and I looked for a housemate to rent with, and that's that. Okay. And today, eventually, I'm able to live on my own, a 1-bedroom apartment with my son. But still, it was a struggle. It was a struggle to get to where I am. So finding housing, it's hard, but if you're single, it's easy. If you're with a family, your best bet is finding a basement where you're gonna rent just the basement with your family. Or if you're just a couple, is a shared house or a big apartment. Which, finding an apartment, like, there's leases, you have to show you have to show that you're capable of finding housing. They check your background, like your criminal record. They check a lot of things. So it is not an easy journey as an international student, but there is hope. There is hope that at the end of the day, you eventually get a house. What I would recommend is get a house that you can stay in for a few days, and once you're here, you can get a better place. So if you even find a place where they're just offering you a room, and that room you don't even like, you bring your mattress. Me, I was even going as far as I will buy an inflatable mattress and bring it if I don't find a furnished house and I find a room. Because you just have to be realistic and work with your budget. I'll just put the mattress there, and we shall sleep there for however long it takes until we find something. Okay, so that's that with finding housing. Facebook Marketplace, it's one place to look on your campus. If you want, stay on campus for some time, and off campus also the link from your school, you have to look into that, because they're a bit more easier, because they show you how far that place is from your campus. They're like 5 minutes away, this, and it's a bit more easy for you to find a house like that. If you have friends, ask them to help you look for housing. But either ways, if everything goes and you don't find something, you stay in a hotel once you come, which is very expensive, 100 and something per day, but hopefully you'll find something. I know God will just make a way. You'll find something. That's that for housing. Now let's get into what you need to do the first few weeks when you get here. Yeah, so as I had mentioned, first of all, you have to do the daycare registry if you have kids. And once you get here, start calling those schools and visiting them if they're near your place. Now you identify, because you want to book for all the schools, not just one daycare. You want to be on all the schools wait list. And when you get here, start calling them and finding out how far they are from where you found your housing, and go there in person, okay, so that you find something you're looking for. You found your daycare, you want to go to your school, tell them you're here, register for your courses or anything that you need to do. They will let you know. After that, you want to go get your SIN number at, I think it's Access Canada. Yes, I think so. So you want to get your SIN number. That is very important. Once you go there, they register you. Now they know you're here. You go with your work permit and your passport, and so you get a SIN number, and the next step is going to get a phone number. Once you get that, the next thing is going to the bank. For the bank, you have to book for an appointment. So there is RBC, Scotia, TD Bank, which one is this? Credit Union place. Credit Union Bank. So getting a bank depends, like research, but for me, they had told me that RBC is good for international students, and that's where I'm banking, and so far so good. I can get help whenever I call them. They have like that 24 hours, which I think all the banks do, and they're very helpful whenever. They don't have any fees. I'm not advertising for them, so for me, I'm just saying RBC is good for me. So you have to book an appointment, go open your account. Of course, you need your SIN number, you need your phone number, you need an address. Before you do that, you need your student permit and your passport. So you book, you go with those things, and you open an account. While you're opening an account, they will offer you a credit card. You need to take that credit card. I know coming here, first of all, I told that guy, I don't want credit cards. When you're leaving Africa, you've left madeni uko, like probably you don't want any more. Like, you don't just want to start your life on credits. So I told him, I don't want a credit, but if I need it, explain to me. So he explained to me that not necessarily it's good to have it to build your credit score, and this place is run by credit scores. I don't know why they insist on us being on credits. I really don't know why. But I'm telling you that credit card will save you, because sometimes you don't have money and you're just choosing that credit card. But also, it's not a good thing. Like, I'll talk about credit cards on another video. But first of all, you need that credit card. Get that credit card, and they will explain to you how to use it as you wait. So yeah, once you're done with the bank, there is IRSA, IRCA, the Newcomers Association. You go there, they tell you what you need to, they link you up with places and what you need to do. First of all, for me, IRSA was not that useful in the first place, but eventually they gave me an information about GST, HST benefits. So you want to go to IRSA, and it's different for everyone. If you're an international student, if you're a resident, they have different information for different cases. Sorry, for IRSA you have to book an appointment, and once they have you on file, they will call you to come in. So after that, you want to go to Access PI for your driver's license. You bring your old driver's license, you register for the next step to get a Canadian driver's license, which is a long process. So as soon as you begin with it, the sooner you might be able to get a car if you have the finances and all that. Another thing you have to register for as soon as possible is the health card. So Access PI for your driver's license and for your health card, they will give you the form that you need to fill. You fill the form and you send it back there. They're the ones who take it to health PI. So yeah, for now, that's all I think you need to do in the first few weeks, but let me not leave you discouraged. I know it's a lot of things to take in. It's usually so hard. Like, the first few months are so hard, because you're trying to get used to everything. Like, everything is new, the place, like, even the excitement is gone. If you're here and you're still excited for the first month, that is great. The excitement is gone. If you came in winter, you're getting used to the weather, you're getting used to everything, the place, the culture shocks and everything. Like, it's not easy, but I promise you it gets easier, and God does not start a work and leaves it unfinished. So as bumpy as it is, there is hope, and better days are yet to come. You will thrive in Canada and you will have a good time. So yeah, see you on my next video. Do not forget to like, comment and share. I would like to hear your experiences, for the ones who are already here, on how you found housing and everything. So please be sure to comment down below. Thank you so much for the new subscribers, and let's keep going. See ya. Bye.